Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be changing a starter on a 2010 Toyota Corolla LE. So this is our old starter. I've already replaced it, but I'm going to run you through the steps and show you a couple of things that I ran into that hopefully you don't yourself. So this is the old starter. So what was it? I'm going to show you the tools that you're going to need to replace it. So you're going to need a couple of wrenches. 14 millimeters, was it maybe one long, one a little bit shorter. Then we're also going to need a socket wrench and some sockets. What was it? The ones that we're going to need are a 14, a 13, a 12, and a 10. And I'm going to show you what those will be used for. So the first thing, whenever you're working on anything that requires electricity, you want to definitely remove your negative or your ground from the battery. So this side. So go ahead and remove that one. That will be your 10 millimeter socket. So once that one's removed, we can go ahead and start working on the starter. Now your starter is going to be located. So this is how it looks. So it's going to have two bolts. So it's going to have one on the top, one on the bottom. So one right here and one right here. And those are what actually connect to the engine. And you're going to have, what was it, two more connections. You're going to have a little connection right here, and you're going to have another connection that you'll take this nut off with. So what was it, your starter is going to be located right here. So what was it, we can reach the top bolt from up top. The bottom bolt you're going to have to go down low for all three of the other connections. So I'm going to show you where this top bolt is. Alright, so if you look just to the left of the battery, you're going to see this dipstick, and you're going to follow the transmission dipstick all the way down. And you see that little bolt right there? Yep, that one right there. So this little bolt right here, you follow the dipstick down just to the left of the dipstick. What was it? That little nut is what we need to get off. Now that's going to be the top bolt. So this one's going to be a 14 millimeter, and there's going to be another one down low that's a 14 millimeter as well. Now this one is extremely hard to get to. So something to make it a little bit easier is, let's see, right down here is difficult to see. See if I can get my phone down there. So right here, we're going to take this nut off, and it's going to give us a little bit of leeway on this bracket. And this nut right here is going to be a 12 millimeter. So it's right down here, right between these two. If you actually follow the dipstick, this little black rail down here wraps around and goes into these tubes, and the bolt's in the middle of those tubes. So you'd want an extended 12 millimeter to get to it, and you gotta be careful, don't drop it. And what was it? So back to this 14. So I had a lot of trouble getting to this 14 millimeter bolt. The best way that I can tell you, you can't get to it with a socket really. You're going to have to get to it with a wrench. And whenever you're going at it with a wrench, you'll have to put it right through here, and you're going to have very limited space. And you're basically just going to have to keep flipping the wrench back and forth and just wiggling it out of there. And once you get it completely disconnected, then you want to go ahead and just leave the bolt there until you're ready to go back and put it in, and then go back and screw it back in. What was it? One thing that I would recommend is once you get it loosened, I would put your hand on the alternator and kind of wiggle the alternator around, and use your right hand just to twist the bolt out. That's been the easiest way. There's only two things that I really want you to pay attention to that I didn't, and I messed them up, and now I got to repair them as well. So it's going to be this outlet right here. So this outlet's brand new. The nipple up top, whenever I was going back and forth and trying to maneuver the bolt out, this nipple actually broke off on me. So it looks like this. So this right here is supposed to be a nipple that pops out and you can put that tube right on it, but it had broke off on me. The other thing that I would worry about is that exact same tube that's going to come over here to your radiator connects right here. And another thing that I wasn't paying attention to is that I had broke this one off too. So now I got to go back and replace those, and I got to come up with a patch for this, which I'll create another video on. But I just want you to be extra careful because, you know, with the older 2010s, they just get real fragile and break off. So just be careful. Now we're going to go under the car. So once you get that top bolt off, we're going to go under the car. And we're going to take the bottom one. Okay. So that bolt right there. All right. So that's that bottom 14mm bolt that I was talking about right here. This one right here. So that one's pretty easy to come out. Again, go ahead and just use a socket on it. Super easy. If it makes any difference, I would probably unloosen the bottom one a little bit, so it gives you a little wiggle room for the top, and then go back up and work on the top. You have two more connections right there. This one right here with the blue wire. So really with that, you can just use your finger, press this little button right there in the middle, and then you can pop it out. Directly to the right of that with the cap right here. So this cap you can just push back with your fingers, or you can pop it out with like a flat head. And this bolt right here is going to be a 13mm. So you'll take that 13mm bolt off, and then this connection will pop off of it. This connection will pop off, and once you've removed the two 14mm bolts, one on the bottom, one on the top, then your starter is going to come out, and then basically you just connect your new starter back in the same way that this one's sitting right now, and you'll put your 14mm bolt back on the bottom, back on the top. You'll put your connection back on. You'll go ahead and you'll put this connection right behind it back on. Let's see if I can get a closer video. Let's see. There we go. So that connection right there. There we are. Oh. There we go. Okay, so you'll have your blue connection, and then you're going to have the 13mm connection. So that piece will just pop off. So once you take that nut off, it's a 13mm, then you can go ahead and pop that connection off, and then you'll put it back on, put the nut back on, you'll pop this connection in, and then you'll put your 14mm bolt back in. So once all that's connected, then you'll jump back up top, you'll connect your negative back to your battery with the 10mm, and then you'll go ahead and you'll start her up. Usually it's not uncommon for it not to start on the first time, so usually give it 2 or 3 goes before it will actually start. And let me know if this helped you. Thank you.